Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? So I just wanted to try my luck and see if anybody is bored like me. I mean, I have a lot of stuff to do, but I take little breaks in between to check my email and all kinds of stuff. So I wanted to see if anybody was on. See if anybody wants to chat. And if you hear anything in the background, that is my washer going. Because I don't have a maid and I don't have anybody that's going to clean for me. So I got to do it myself. So, what's going on? I'll go on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so I can hear. I have audio. I was watching that Oops, We Did It Again video over and over and over again, and the more I played it, the funnier it became. It just became. I had a good laugh, because when you see Chris Watts walk into that kitchen, he literally stops and pauses for a few minutes. Okay, a few seconds, whatever. You know, I gotta exaggerate shit, but he pauses and I don't think he knows what to make of it. And just kept replaying it, and I'm like, why didn't anybody say anything when this video was posted? Like, you could tell that there was a disconnect between the two of them at that time. If I were the one posting that video, apparently that video was pre-recorded, if I were the one that was going to post that on my Facebook page, I would have said, cut, go back to the door, come back, and let's do this again. I mean, if that's what she was aiming for, right? Like perfection. But he didn't behave the way she wanted him to. She definitely was pissed off because he wasn't giving her the reaction she thought he would give. Poor little Dieter doesn't even know what to do with himself. He is just running all over the place. And who knows, he's probably trying to get away from the camera too. But I'm like, how does this compare to Sarah Boone? I think there's some similarities there. One of them being that Chris Watts was so agreeable and he would do almost anything that SW asked him to do. And apparently, Sarah Boone's boyfriend, Jorge Torres Jr. Apparently he did what she asked him to do too, because who's going to get inside of a piece of luggage and allow somebody to zip them up? I know I wouldn't. It's just, it's strange. Green Eye Bandit, hi. Hi, Holly. I got 2 people on my live. That's so exciting. I was on live earlier today. I had no one to talk to. I was all alone, so I just had to talk to myself. How are you guys doing? And forgive me for, if you were there for a few minutes, because I see you have been here for a couple of minutes. I'm so new at this. I just saw the little number pop up. It's so great to see you guys. By the way, I just want to let everyone know that Tabitha Jane, she is doing a little better. And, let's just send out those healing prayers for her, because, she was really sick. So she's home resting. She texted me earlier. And I just hope that she can hurry up and get on YouTube again. She gets enough strength to get back on YouTube, because she's amazing. So what do you guys want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? Because this is a case that just will never leave me. I don't know why, but I just, like, every other day I have another question about this case. And abuse it just runs rampant, and there needs to be a lot of awareness on abuse, especially, not to say that women shouldn't talk about their abuse. I mean, absolutely they should, but I also think that men tend to keep that more quiet, because they look, I guess they're supposed to be the protector. They're supposed to be bigger and strong and stuff. And I think that doesn't get spoken about a lot these days. I will pass along your message, Green Eye Bandit. I will let her know. And hopefully she'll catch this live. I know she was resting. But I know somebody personal to my family that they have a very controlling girlfriend. And when I saw that, it immediately made me think of the Watts case, because it just looks so familiar, And with this Sarah Boone case, like, did you guys play hide and seek when you were kids? Because I don't remember the rules changing. I just thought you were supposed to hide and the other person was supposed to seek you out, not you get in this suitcase and I'll zip you up and come back 11 hours later. Special K, how are you? Oh, wow. This is so exciting. You know what? I'm like sitting in my living room and I'm shaking like a leaf, like I'm standing in front of an auditorium about to give a speech. I know you weren't putting anybody in a suitcase. I didn't know. I thought, like, when did the rules change? Oh my goodness. Yes, it's the trial is scheduled for, is it January 20th, I think? Oh, thank you, Special K. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, I think the trial is scheduled for January 30th. It was scheduled for November, but then it was put off. So hopefully this one will be televised too. Like this crazy Brooks trial. Did you guys get to watch that trial? That was really hard for me to watch, especially the victim impact statements. I just don't understand how that guy was just basically mocking his victims. I think there's a special place in hell for that guy. I wasn't her intention. Did you listen to her discovery? How she says intention. Uh-huh. It wasn't her intention. Her intention. And you know what I noticed about Sarah Boone is that she was always trying to act like she was helping him. She was doing something to better him. And I think that SW did the same thing with Chris. Like, he wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for her. Oh, wow. Sarah Boone is in the Orange County Jail, 2 counties away from me, less than 40-minute drive. I hope this doesn't go to trial and waste our taxpayers' dollars in the state of Florida. I don't even know what to say about that, because I think that a lot of these cases are a waste of taxpayers' dollars. I definitely think that the Brooks case definitely, in my opinion, was a waste, because with all those disruptions and all those delays, he was trying to delay the inevitable, and he just kept dragging it on and on and on. And just having people take time off from work to testify, and them live streaming it. I mean, this had to cost so much money, and it could have been put to, good use elsewhere. So do you agree with me, Special K, right? That it's like these women are acting like these men can't survive without them. Like they were doing something in their benefit, and it was actually to their detriment, in my opinion. You know what, Special K? That case was nuts. I don't know. You know what? Let me just put it out there. I don't think that anybody should have been murdered in any case. I don't think Jodi Arias should have murdered her ex-boyfriend. I don't think anybody should have been murdered, but I think that there is something happened to get these people to get to where they are. And I don't know, but do you think that I think Jodi Arias was that dirty little secret, and I I feel like he was messing with her. Like he was telling her one thing and then telling his family something different. What do you guys think about that? And there's so much stuff, with the church and stuff, with Travis Alexander and stuff, the Mormon church, and she actually went and converted into that religion and stuff, and he had a whole relationship with her. I mean, again, I'm not saying that she should have, flipped out and went after him. But I'm thinking that this Travis Alexander guy had, he was living a double life. The MLMs. And you know that even with Travis Alexander, he was part of an MLM too. I don't understand how all these MLMs, they're just, whew. Yeah, I think it was called Legal Shield. I have seen those pictures. They are disgusting. And you know what? With technology today, it's amazing how they even recovered those photos, because she took the camera and threw it in the washing machine and did a load of laundry, and they were still able to recover those photos. That's just so wild. Oh no, did you guys have like an issue with one another? Well, let's just get it out there. I know that there's some channels where you're not able to express yourself in the way that you actually want to, but you can do that here. As long as no one starts fighting with one another, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And I think that this is a platform for it. We should be able to just say what's on our mind, so long as we're respectful to one another. I don't see a problem with that. Hold on one second. Let me pull up this comment here. I agree with Special K. Cannot imagine being naked in the shower and having my so-called lover come that way with a large kitchen knife and a camera. If she had done that in Florida. You know what? First of all, I don't know what I would do if somebody came at me with a knife and started stabbing me and then taking pictures. I mean, that's a whole another kind of cuckoo there. Um, I mean, do you guys think that do you think she snapped, or do you think that it was calculated? It was premeditated? I mean, because she did actually like drive there. Didn't she change the license plates on the car? She had like gas for a couple of days. I mean, that girl planned it. Right, right. The amount of force that you have to use to do that, I mean, that's got to be rage. A lot of rage. It's a shame. Could you imagine his roommates finding that? It's oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Um, Again, I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I actually, I know you guys know Hot Ham Radio, right? Um, but she was a photographer, remember? Okay, I did. You know what? I didn't even realize that. I thought he was the one that was into photography. But back to this comment. Um, I was talking with Hot Ham Radio the other day on her live chat, and she was playing NK's video, the one that was just released a few months back. And I actually couldn't stand her. I really couldn't stand her. I mean, her voice was cringy. I'm like, why would she delete stuff? Like, obviously, she has something to hide. But then, when I was speaking with Hot Ham Radio, she actually got me to see things the way that she does. And you know what? In my own personal friendships or lack thereof, there have been people that have pissed me off. And I'm like, delete your picture, delete your contact. I don't want anything to do with you, block the person or whatever. So I've come to change my mind about NK. Casey Anthony, I do not know about Casey Anthony. I think that girl I think she's guilty. I could be wrong, but I just don't understand how you don't report your baby missing. I mean, my baby's, NA reported SW missing after a couple of hours. I mean, that was a little weird, but if my baby is missing for 5 minutes, I'm going to go crazy. Okay, no, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the comments. Sweater under the pressure and it's cool. Yeah, I think that we can all sit here and we can all discuss this stuff no matter what your opinion is. And I think that we'll be fine. No one's going to block you. No one's going to kick you out. No one's going to belittle you for having your own opinion because that's what these discussions are for. Okay, let me go up. Simply going to say in the state of Florida, we actually do have a death penalty. And we do excuse people in the state of Florida. Because, I mean, you know what? Green Eyed Bandit, I hate to say this, but I think that Darrell Brooks deserved the death penalty. I don't know if Wisconsin has a death penalty. I'm assuming they don't. I'm so glad they gave him 1,000,000,000,000,000,000 years in prison, but for me that wasn't enough because for him to just like clutch his chest and smirk and practically laugh at his victims, I think there's a special place in hell for his ass. They really are all new loonies. I think that's what they all have in common. They're all nuts. You know what? I actually like to watch over and over Jodi Arias and Sean Ramsey. Looks like that's being looked into again. Yeah, I really wish that that Darrell Brooks had to have a harsher sentence than just sitting there. Oh, you haven't watched the trial special K on Brooks? It's rough. It's rough. He just got sentenced to like I think it was well over 780 years in prison. He's never going to see the light of day. But I mean, he's a career criminal. I'm sure he can go sit in a jail cell and it's not going to do anything for him because, I mean, if I were to go to jail, I think that I would probably be so frightened that I would never ever do it again. I mean, I'm 48 years old and I've never ever ever been handcuffed. I've never gone to jail or whatever. And I'm too afraid to go to jail. But I don't think that he's afraid of it. I think that's just like, oh well. Oh, really? They're doing oh, okay. So they're doing a live on Casey Anthony. Well, if you want to go ahead and catch that, I mean, go right ahead. I'll be back on. Yeah, that case doesn't ever go away. You know what? That's one case that I never really got into was the Madeline McCann case. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to look into that case. You hate Casey Anthony? I don't blame you. I don't blame you because it just doesn't sit right. I mean, I wouldn't be out dancing and getting tattoos and what was the tattoo? Bella Vita that she got tattooed on her, and she's saying that her baby was with Zanny the nanny, and there was no Zanny the nanny, and she never worked at Universal Studios. I mean, everything that came out of her mouth was a damn lie. And how she was not found guilty is beyond me. Okay, so we're all on the same page. We all hate Casey Anthony. Oh. Yes, that's the guy who drove his vehicle into the Wisconsin parade route, Christmas parade route. I mean, that is terrible. Yeah, he wanted to represent himself. And then going towards the end, he's trying to say that he was trying to allude to the fact that he was not competent and that he was a little on the cray cray side. Well, I kind of agree with the fact that he's a little on the cray cray side because I mean, how in the hell could you do that? But he's very smart. He's actually smarter than a lot of people because he understood the legal procedure. Now, I've worked in a law office for 25 years. A lot of that stuff is hard to understand, especially to a layman. And he understood quite well what was going on. He just wanted people to think that he didn't know what was going on. And so the judge saw right through that crap. Anthony Todd? I don't think so. Oh, I'm gonna have. Let me get a pen here. I have to look this up. No, I have not seen that trial of Anthony Todd. He's from Celebration, Florida. Right, right, Green Eye Bandit. That's true. I mean, she got away scot-free, in my opinion. It's terrible. I don't know what is up with these. I have a hard time when it comes to when it comes down to children. Um, because at the end of the day, I mean, adults can pick and choose who they want to be with, but the children, they have no choice, you know? They were just thrown in that environment and had to deal with whatever came their way, and it's really heartbreaking. Like, I was looking at some videos of Bella. Did you guys get to see that video that Neeks Peaks posted? I think she posted it today about about Bella's hair. I mean, I know I'm going all over the place, but it's like things just pop into my head, and I gotta mention my ADD's on overdrive again. Let's see. Medical fraud, was facing jail eviction. He murdered his wife and 3 kids, claimed it was a religious journey, and he poisoned them with Benadryl and stabbed them. Oh my goodness, I think I remember hearing about this. Yes, I think I remember hearing this because of the similarities of the Benadryl. I'm going to have to go into this. I don't know if I can handle another obsession because I'm like obsessed with the Watts case. Every single day, I'm looking for something else. And it's been 4 years. Can you imagine if I put another one on here? Oh my gosh. Ah, you piqued my curiosity. I'm going to have to look into this case too. Okay, wait. Let me grab my pen. I should have been prepared. My chair is creaking. Ah. Now, kind of, jumping around here, but it still has to do with the hair. I don't know if you guys were able to catch my live earlier today, but I was talking about, I was comparing the pulling of the hair, putting tight ponytails in the hair. And I think that was probably tearing Bella's hair out because, I mean, they didn't really have much hair. She's cutting it. And so if you're pulling it to try to make these tiny little ponytails, it's going to pull their hair. Not to mention the amount of stress that those children must have been under for their hair to also fall out. But there was one creator that had mentioned that NK went to her interview at the police station and she had a bald spot. And I don't agree with that because every time I would go to work, I would always put my hair in a tight bun. And so I would pull my hair back so tight that like my eyebrows would lift. It was like I had a facelift. And then when I would take it out at at the end of the day, my hair was so sore, my scalp was so sore. But from doing that for so many years, my hairline is receding. So now if I put my hair in a ponytail, it actually looks like I have a bald spot. But that's just the way that the hair, it's just receding because of that pull, that constant pull. I don't know. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? That like bald spot that it looks like she has on her head, but she also has that in other pictures. Like when she's climbing up the rope and doing this like this fitness challenge, you can see that there as well. Yeah, I think yeah, Holly, check out that Neeks Peaks video because that was She's so talented. I wish I could navigate my way around the computer, first of all, like that. Not to mention, editing software and stuff like that. She's amazing.
Felix, my love.
Oh, I am live. One moment, please. Let me mute my mic. I'm sorry, that was my husband trying to call me, but I lost the call. No. Her videos are awesome. They're on point, and there's no way that anybody can say anything about her videos, because it all comes from what was posted by Shannon. She posted it there. And so, I mean, it's not like we're making the stuff up. Oh, yes, it did say my love. My husband was calling me. Well, I guess maybe he must have butt dialed me because he didn't call back. So, yeah, that's Oh, okay. No problem. My name is Sandy. Um, a lot of people don't, you know what? I used to go and chat under another creator's chat for a really long time. And I went under my name, and I started getting like hate mail and stuff. I didn't realize that people were going to be able to find me. And they did, because I had a different opinion. So naturally, because I've worked in the legal profession for 25 years, I chose this name, and because I was like, objection, don't treat me like that. And so I figured that would be the best name, and I eventually pulled away from that creator that wouldn't allow you to speak your mind. And that's why I'm here, because I think it's really unfair. There's no reason why anybody should, whether I agree with you or not, you should be able to say what you want to say, and we should be respectful of one another. And so Tabitha Jane and Hot Ham Radio, they were like pushing me and pushing me. And so that's why I'm here. So yeah, my name is Sandy, but that's as far as I'm going to tell you. My name is Sandy. But you haven't received, oh, that is amazing. I'm so glad you've never received any hate mail or anything like that. It's really nerve-wracking to actually, for somebody to attack you in a chat because you said something that wasn't according to the narrative that they wanted you to go by. And then you get emails and stuff, and some of these creators really do go a little extra. And I mean, this is YouTube. If you don't like what somebody has to say, go to another channel or ignore it. What the hell? Oh, that's great. You've been in the legal profession too? Yeah, I love the law. I actually had to stop working um, because I had developed I got Lyme disease, and I didn't know that I had chronic Lyme, and I just started getting like this really bad pains in my neck and my back and stuff. And by the time I was tested, it was so bad I couldn't even sit up. And this is actually the most I've actually been sitting at a computer this past few months because I just couldn't do it. It was just way too painful. Oh my goodness, Holly, that's horrible. You know what? I don't know. You guys would probably know me. I had my picture. I was under Sandy, and I had a picture of my dog, a white Shih Tzu. And then I took it down. And then I just put a little avatar up there because I'm like, oh, it was just bad. As soon as I would go into a chat, I'd get attacked and stuff. And I wasn't too far off of the creators' opinions, but I was just a tad bit off, and she wasn't gonna have it. Yes. Yeah, some creators take this to a whole new level, and it takes the fun out of being on YouTube. I mean, and then how is it that you're gonna how else can we get each other's opinions if we're not allowed to speak about them? I'm sorry that you had to endure that. Put your picture up and oh, that's terrible. Oh, you know what, Holly? Your friend really should go. You should, if you're thinking about going into court reporting, I think that you should do it. I I was doing legal and medical transcription when I started getting sick. I was doing legal and medical transcription just to, keep paying the bills. But court reporting, that would be an amazing, amazing job to have. I just don't know if I were the court reporter in this Brooks case, I think I would have PTSD. I mean, you're not just limited to the courts. I mean, you can go and do depositions and things and stuff like that, but just having to hear the ins and the outs of some of these criminal cases. See, I like personal injury. I mean, I dabbled into criminal and family um, products liability and stuff, but personal injury was what I really like to do. Um, but if you're going to do court reporting for like criminal cases and not, I don't know if I could do that because some of that stuff you can't unhear it. How do they find you, Ollie? Oh, well, because you know what? In my case, when I started going on YouTube, I actually put all my information in the YouTube in when I set up my account. And I think that some of these creators know how to hack into that. So, like this account, doesn't have any of my information. My name is objection overruled. That's what it is. So if you're looking for anybody, you're going to find objection overruled. I made that mistake of putting my real first name and my real last name and my real email in the first one. I had to take it down and I had to create a specific email address for this channel. And then I had to verify with Google who I was. So only Google knows who I am and knows where I live and all kinds of other stuff. But Yeah, they're able to find you. Some of these people have like some extra time on their hands, I would say. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. The osteoarthritis. Actually, Tuesday I just got Botox injections in my neck because I have what's called cervical dystonia, and it's like a posturing of your neck. It's the muscles are so overactive. It's kind of like your muscles are tense all the time and they're never in a relaxed state. So they're so tight that my head postures forward, and we're not supposed to be like looking down all the time. And I actually started getting like a lump in the back of my neck because I couldn't even move my head because my neck muscles were so tight. Okay. Oh no. My name's not spelled that way. That's a different one. Mine's with a Y. But yes, I know who you are. I bet you know which where we all met too. Oh, you're an RN? Oh, bless you. I take my hat off to any medical professional out here. I mean, because it takes a special person to do what you do. Thank you. Yeah, Darrell Brooks is disturbing. That case was hard. I don't know how that judge kept her composure the entire time of that trial. I guess being in the legal profession, I literally wanted to jump into the screen and just strangle him. I mean, if it were me and I had a parking ticket or anything of that sort, and I went into a courthouse and I behaved that way, the judge would have sanctioned me a long time ago. But I guess because he was pro se, she had to give him a lot of leeway. But she had the patience of a saint. She did end up, after he was sentenced, she did end up getting emotional. And I feel so bad for this judge because there's no way that she is going to walk away from this case without it affecting her in some way. There's just no way. I mean, if you just have to be cold not to have allowed this case to affect you. And she broke down at the end when she was talking about the victims, and she was telling Brooks what an asshole he was by those smirks that he had on his face, and he was clutching his chest. And oh my gosh, I don't, that lady she's a saint. You know what? I couldn't stand family law either. It's too much drama. Conveyancing. I did some debt collection. Is conveyancing is it's part of real estate, isn't it? I liked criminal. Uh, I didn't like family law. I didn't like family law because it was way too dramatic for me. It was like a big soap opera that just never ended. And I don't know, it's just you have somebody calling in like, my wife has a new girlfriend. Now I want his car, her car. I mean, just like, I mean, so petty. And then these poor children are stuck in the middle of this feud between the mother and father. It never ends pretty. It's just, it's so ugly. I have a few family members that do family law, and They're really good at it, but they don't like it either. Now with a Y, that's a different Sandy, Special K. There's one, it was two of us in the same chat. One spells her name that way, and I think that she still chats, but mine is spelled with a Y. And I don't go in that chat anymore, so you wouldn't see me in there. Yeah. Um, really, really. Are you kidding me? So I'm already getting like hackers. Somebody just tried to post a porn link in chat. Stick that up your own ass. Sorry, guys. Special K. All I'm going to tell you is you're probably onto something. Yeah, we were all members of a specific creator that I don't go to anymore. Holly, you're lost. I'm sorry. I'm actually getting caught up with the comments because that threw me off. Somebody just put a porn link in the chat. It said something like free virgin girls XXX something. Oh my god, I'm shaking because like we're all talking here and some asshole has to come in here and do some crap like that. But see, that's what they do. They want to go in and try to get you off of topic so you won't discuss it. And that's not going to get me to leave. Oh, dog grooming. That's another great profession to have. I don't know how dog groomers do it because let me tell you, my dog, oh boy, he's scared of everything, everyone. If there's a bag just rustling in the wind, he's scared of it. So taking him to a dog groomer, if a dog groomer can handle him, oh, God bless him or her because he is a handful. Mrs. Gone Missing. Dog grooming's got to be a really good profession. I used to have a Shih Tzu, and I used to have to take her in like every 3 weeks because her hair would grow so fast. And then she was white, so I always had to have her really pretty and stuff. And that sounds like a really good profession, dog grooming. Yeah, you know what? I didn't like real estate, Special K. I didn't like it at all. And I'll tell you why I didn't like it. Because I was doing personal injury for years and years and years. And the person that was handling the real estate secretary, she quit. And then I inherited all her files. And no one taught me how to do it. It just gave it to me. And I was trying to wing it. And then my first closing, I had this entire closing package put together. Don't even know how I got this closing package together, but I had it together. And I'm bringing this huge packet to the copier with this huge check. I think it was like a $200,000 check. At that time, that was a lot of money for a house. And I put it through the feeder of the copier, and the copier ate my check. And then I dropped the rest of the package on the floor and I didn't know how to put it back together. And then I didn't want anything to do with real estate. Right, right. Divorces can get really ugly and they can take years, especially if there's any real property, if there are children involved. I mean, it can drag on, especially if you have someone who wants to drag it on and just nitpick at every little thing. It can take years. And you know what? An attorney's not going to say, oh, let's get on with this because those are billable hours, you know? It's a lot of paperwork, yes. Yeah, they do. Go do what you have to do, Green Eyed Bandit. You know what? A lot of times when I'm on, I go on and I listen in the background. I'll put it on my computer or I'll put it on my I'll say my Amazon device because if I say her name, she's gonna start talking crap. I'll put it on her because it has like a little screen and I can watch and listen, but I don't always get to chat. But that's what I do a lot of times. But if I'm on like Hot Ham Radios live, I'll chat. Tabitha Jane, I'll chat. Mia, I'll chat because I feel comfortable there. Even Lana, um, I've never been attacked in those chats, so I become a big chatter in those chats, but in other people's chats, I have to like get a feel for it before I actually say something because heavens forbid if you say something that somebody doesn't agree with, they come for you. I've also been in Crafton and Kim's chat. They're a really good channel as well. Have you guys seen that new channel, Jordan Henshaw? That's a really good channel. You guys need to look him up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get to all these comments. My son has taken up welding and fabrication apprenticeship. He's been researching how it works. Wow, that's amazing. Sounds like your son is going to make some big bucks. Oh, I don't know if that was a robot that put that rated X link in my chat, but you're really not supposed to be able to put links in people's chats, so they can find a way to get around it somehow. Holly, are you talking about the Casey Anthony case? If we think that that case is going to be reopened, which case are you talking about? I'm sorry, I'm kind of slow here, trying to catch up with the with the with the comments here. Hi. Let me know which case you're talking about, Holly, about whether or not they're going to reopen the case. I really wish that they would reopen Watts, but the only way that that case would actually be reopened is if there's some new evidence. And I think that's highly unlikely. I think at this point they've destroyed the DNA that was taken. I believe that he signed signed a piece of paper that said that they were going to destroy any DNA that was taken. I just don't understand how this case was handled in the way that it was. It's just, it makes no sense. If someone could come up with some kind of evidence, I wish they would already because this case really does need to be reopened. Listen, I think that if you want to do anything, your age should not be a part, I mean, we're all getting up in age and stuff. I just take your time, do whatever makes you feel comfortable. If it takes you longer to research something, take your time. Do what you want. Take stuff at your own pace. My in-laws own 2,000 acres. Oh. Oh. My dog is a rescue and he's scared of everything. And don't let anybody get near me because then he wants to attack everyone. I keep telling my husband that we need to take him to a trainer or something because he is not sociable at all. I wish he would be able to play with other dogs. I would think that maybe it would benefit him, but like he starts wagging his tail and he acts like he wants to be around other dogs. And then when I bring him near the dog, then he's like goes on the attack. So, I mean, he's like all over the place. You're not writing too much, Special K. No, you're not writing too much at all. Absolutely not. Right, Holly? No one deserves to be attacked. You know what I'm starting to wonder? I think that people getting attacked on YouTube is for clicks and likes and monetization. I mean, because like we all like a good gossip. And I mean, I know I still watch The Young and the Restless since I was like 11 years old. I mean, who didn't watch Jerry Springer or Maury Povich or something? I mean, we all like some gossip here and there, and I think that that's what some of these creators do. They create these fights between each other because then you're like, oh, someone's talking about so and so. Let me go to her channel and find out the scoop. Let me see what tea has been spilled. I mean, I'm guilty of doing it. I love, a good story, but I mean, when it gets real life, when you start attacking your subscribers, I think that's a difference. That's different. I think that's uncalled for. Oh, what time is it in Australia? Oh yeah, you were talking about the Chris Watts case. Yeah, I wish they would reopen that case. I just don't see how they would. I mean, I've seen the Watts parents are starting to make an appearance, and I don't know, maybe they know something that we don't. I mean, they were quiet for the longest. I hope that they know something that we don't, and I hope they would share. Oh no. I really my and I don't know if I said it. My dog's a rescue. And when we found him, he was so emaciated. I mean, you could see all his little bones down his back. And we actually had to get this special bowl. It was like a puzzle. And he had to eat out of that bowl for like the first month that we had him because he was so food aggressive that he would just eat his food really, really fast and he wouldn't digest it. So this puzzle bowl would make him actually work for the food. He had to go around the little pieces. So it would encourage him to eat slowly. And I mean, it's such a shame. I don't understand how anybody could just mistreat animals. And there's a special place in hell for somebody who mistreats animals. Oh, right, right. I mean, the fighting with creators, I have to admit that at some point, like there was this one creator that people still talk about till this day. I wanted to know what was going on. So I had never heard of her, but then when I kept hearing this person's name constantly talked about by so many other creators, I had to go and check her out. And I see why, they didn't like her. But that dragging it on for hours and hours and hours, 6, 7, 8 hour live streams, day in, day out. I mean, cut the shit out already and move on to the next topic. Oh, it's 10:30. Oh, it's early there. Did you see that DD has finally come out and said, are the R's working with AD? No. I thought oh, yeah. I don't know who the R's are working with at this point. I mean, they've gone to so many different creators, and that's a little alarming for me. I wouldn't do that, especially that some creators like to exploit this. And I don't know who they're working with. I know that they were working with AD at one point, but I don't know. Honey, I don't watch TV anymore. Who needs TV when you have YouTube? I tell you one thing, I don't even have like cable anymore. I just got rid of my cable and I got Hulu Live. And so Hulu Live has like unlimited DVR. So I love The Young and the Restless, and I think I have maybe like a month and a half worth of The Young and the Restless that I have to catch up on, because I'm like so glued on true crime on YouTube that I don't even get to watch the stuff that I normally watch. And to be honest, I can't take the news. So whatever pops up on YouTube, I'll see that. Like, did you guys see the fighter planes when they were for Veterans Day? It was a crash, and I went on Instagram the other day, and my videos automatically just start playing, and I saw that plane crash, and I can't get that out of my head. So I try to stay away from the news because it's like it's traumatizing. Okay, so I'm caught up with my comments. So what do you think about Cindy Watts and the fact that they keep on saying she didn't go to the wedding? What the hell does that have to do with anything? Young and the Restless, I'm laughing. My mom and I used to watch that also. The Bold and the Beautiful. Oh, yes. I love The Bold and the Beautiful, especially when the Young and the Restless, some of the actors would go on over to The Bold and the Beautiful. So it was like an hour and a half of soap operas. I want to watch The Bold and the Beautiful, but it's like I don't even know what in the world Eric and Ridge are doing anymore at this point. But for some reason, if I stop watching The Young and the Restless for a little bit, I can always get caught up right away. Oh, I'm sorry, Green-Eyed Bandit. Yeah, that's hard. I know that was something that you like to do with your mom. Yeah, Holly. Would you go to somebody's wedding if you were mistreated? I mean, I'm a little on the fence with that though, because oh my god, my chair is so creaky. um, Part of me says that if I were in that situation, I'd say, well, screw her. It's my son. I'm going to go anyway. But then when you really look at Shannon's behavior, she had the potential to be very dangerous. Accusing somebody on a social media platform of attempted murder. I mean, granted, she did that right before the murders took place, but we don't know what else was happening in the years before that, when they were getting married. Maybe I wouldn't go. If I felt like I was going to be attacked, no, and you're right. She couldn't win. No matter what it seemed like, personally, I think that the guy who did the interview cherry picked things that she said, because when you're talking about a murder case, especially that early on, I don't think whether she attended uh, the wedding or not, it had nothing to do with the murders. I mean, she didn't commit the murders. I think that was done to make her look messed up. I was about to curse. I would probably go, but then again, I probably wouldn't, because if I'm being mistreated like that, and then if my son follows suit and allows it to happen, because there was a point where Chris wasn't even talking to his parents either, that would hurt me, and maybe I wouldn't go. I couldn't say. I mean, none of us could say what we would do unless we were actually in that situation. If that makes sense. I'm going to jump out here as a representative of Chris Watt's mother and sister. Let them completely cancel her future sister-in-law out of the wedding and the flower girl. Yes, that's terrible. Look, she had how many bridesmaids? She had, I think Jamie was the first one. Then she had Jamie, and then she had Gina Dietz. Is it two? Why do I feel like there was three? Like she just kept recycling her bridesmaids. And then I'm sure that they bought like the dresses and the little dresses for the flower girl and stuff. And how do you explain that to a child? No, you're uninvited to a wedding. And who does that? Special K. Then after being insulted at the rehearsal dinner or the bridal shower or both, or being kicked out of any involvement in the wedding after a dress was made, hand-stitched and sewn together. Yeah, that would piss me off too. Like, give me my money back. Now, I would be upset, especially for the children because they were supposed to be involved, and I would be mad for myself too because having to come out of pocket. And she got mad because she didn't want to take a week off of work, and she was a respiratory therapist. Who the hell takes off for a whole week to just like do stuff? I just got married 6 years ago. We didn't take off for anything. I mean, for like important stuff, but we didn't take a week off. We didn't have that luxury financially. Sorry guys. I had alarms going off all over the place. Yeah, I didn't have that luxury to just take a whole week off for my own wedding or for anybody else's wedding. Actually, I was working and planning my wedding. I had like 2 screens open. I'd be doing a legal brief on one end, and I'd be shopping for stuff on the other one. I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, if you have that luxury, more power to you, but everybody doesn't have that luxury. And because she didn't have the luxury of taking a whole week off to get your nails done and hair done and all kinds of other stuff, she fired her. That's terrible. We're all over the place. We're talking about right now. We're talking about the Watts sister-in-law and her children getting fired from the wedding. And whether or not you would still go to the wedding, because they seem to keep focusing on the fact that Cindy and Ronnie didn't go to the wedding, but like nobody went to the wedding from the Watts family, only the grandmother. So obviously she pissed off that whole family. And then after you've been completely kicked out of the wedding, told not to even show up. Yes, Green-Eyed Bandit had the audacity to call and ask for $1,000 for dinner. That's ballsy as hell. I agree. High drama. And the Watts family, they seem to be low key, very, very quiet. And SW was very high strung. She had a very strong personality, and it just didn't, it wasn't gonna mesh well. And like, for example, when they were at the barbecue at SW's house, and I'm referring to that 10-page letter that SW's mother wrote to Detective Baumhover. And she's saying that they were at a barbecue and everybody was floored because she had this beautiful house. And then they start, the R mom starts talking to the Watts mom, and she starts like spilling the beans about FR Senior and how she only had a couple of good years with him. And then Cindy Watts is like, oh, like, you're like telling, they're not used to stuff like that. And so I guess she took offense to that. Green-Eyed Bandit's like, no, hell no, I wouldn't have gone. Nope, not me. I don't blame you. Could you imagine having to sit through that with all eyes on you and that entire family doesn't like you? And she poisoned her family against them because it had to be all about her. Oh, you could say the B. You could say the B word. You could say the B word. Ah, yeah, I agree. I agree. It was very bitchy. I think that she was overly indulged, used to getting her way. And I'm wondering if that's the reason why the first marriage didn't work out. And funny how we don't hear anything about that marriage. We just know that she stopped coming home and she didn't want to participate in couples therapy. That's all we know. That guy doesn't speak, but she's been involved in these MLMs. I heard, I don't know how true that is, but that she left home at an early age, that she had a volatile relationship with her parents. And if she's used to getting her way, I mean, is it safe to say that maybe it was the same way in the first marriage? Not me either. I hope JW built her for the flower girl. Oh, I'm sure she didn't, but it would have been nice, wouldn't it? I mean, because that's terrible. You have to spend all this money, and then, at the very last minute, at the 11th hour, you're fired. That's, I mean, just like no regard for somebody else's finances, for their feelings. It's like to me, she didn't care about anybody's feelings. She didn't care about her children's feelings. She didn't care about her husband's feelings. She didn't care about her husband's family's feelings. I don't think that she cared about her parents' feelings, because at one point she ended up having a fight with her parents and she told her mother to get the hell out and told her father to stay. SW was crapping all over CW's family before she even had a ring on it. Oh, yeah. I won't put up with that crap for 1 minute. And just so everybody knows, I have a deceased daughter in law. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's really sad. I'm sorry to hear that. Holly, could you imagine being at somebody's wedding and your stomach is growling because you just know that like when I go to other people's weddings, I don't eat during the day. I eat something very, very light because I want to pig out at the wedding. And there was no food because you had to have these lavish tents and all this other stuff. It was like all a show. But if you ain't feeding me, I'm sorry. I mean, if I have to go to Mickey D's after the wedding, there's a problem. My daughter-in-law did not die the way SW did, so there isn't a comparison, but my daughter-in-law was very similar to SW. Oh, that's so sad. That is so sad. That is awful. And like I was saying earlier in the live, that I have somebody in my family that has a girlfriend that is very controlling, and this person just goes along with it, and is so painful to watch. And unfortunately, there's like nothing you can do. I mean, you can give so much advice, but at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do, because I feel like the more advice I give, the more this person wants to be around the other person. And so like myself, I was in an abusive relationship and no one could tell me anything. I had to get out of it on my own. I'm so glad you brought that up. Now, when I got married, my in-laws were there. Um, my parents are deceased. So my parents weren't there, but a lot of my family were there. People that I respect that were elder. I I'm not a prude, but I don't think that that was the place for that. Like who has the first orgasm or what in the hell? Is that normal for weddings? Because that's actually the first time that I actually saw that, like sex trivia. I don't know. Maybe I'm hiding under a rock or something. I agree. I agree with you 100%. She bullied people to get her way. I mean, it's just like, a little kid, when they start screaming and throwing themselves on the floor, a lot of times people just like let the kid have whatever they want because they don't want to hear it anymore. And I think that that's exactly what happened with SW. I think that people would just pacify her so she would just stop having a fit. And so eventually she would just get her way. But that kind of getting your way, it was so dangerous. I mean, they had no money. I mean, you get married, and right after you get married, you file for bankruptcy. And you can't file bankruptcy right away. There's a certain amount of years that you have, depending on where you live. Um, where I live, you have to wait 10 years. Um, so if you've maxed out all your credit cards, it sucks to be you because you can't file again. You have to wait that time period that's allotted to you to file again. And they had no money. I don't even know how they got a mortgage, to be honest. You know what, Holly, I kind of do think that she did have the capacity to love. Because there's sometimes, I mean, and I could be wrong, but sometimes she does give, a look here and there and whatever. I just think that she was really troubled. Um, I maybe I'm just looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, but I think we all have the capacity to love. But whether or not those other things that were plaguing her took precedence, if that makes any sense. I think she was more spoiled than anything. I think that in her own warped way, she loved her kids and she loved her husband in some kind of weird way. But I think that she had this hunger and greed for money that took over. Now, don't come for me now. Girl, I have so many Italian friends, and that would just not be happening. Somebody would be cooking and bringing food if they could not afford a caterer. I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, and if we can't afford a caterer, we'll all get together and cook. There's no shame in my game of cooking. I could throw down in the kitchen. Why not? If I can't afford it. The mother of the bride being Italian could have put in sauces together in big salad. Right. Right. And that's another thing. they're all hairdressers, right? So you know what? To cut costs, could have been doing everybody's hair, cooking, you know, get some of that money down. You don't have to go into a wedding and be broke. I mean, some people do. I mean, it wouldn't be the way that I did it. I got married 6 years ago, and I did everything on a budget because for me, it didn't, even though it was one day, that one day goes by so fast. I didn't even get to eat. I was walking around greeting everybody, thanking everybody for coming, that I forgot to eat. Um, but I tried to do everything on a budget because I want to buy a house. So that's where I want my money to go to. Yeah, I never heard of such a thing at a wedding either. Like no food, uh, sex trivia pursuit, trivial pursuit. Go ahead, go take a shower, enjoy your shower. Hopefully you come back and join us. If not in this life, in another life, we're going to be talking about other cases besides Watts. Um, I don't know. It's just I think this case hit me to its core because of experiences with abuse, personal experiences with abuse, and seeing people, specifically men, being abused by women. So it goes both ways. That's what drew me to this case. So it's kind of a little bit of an obsession. But we will be talking about other cases. So if you're more than welcome to join us in future lives. Hopefully I'll be back on here. I'm still trying to get myself acclimated with YouTube and StreamYard and getting comfortable. And I really appreciate you guys because you guys chatting with me has helped this go by a lot easier. I mean, it's not like so strenuous. Like before, I was like talking to myself and I'm like, so what do I talk about? You know what? You are so right. I don't know if Chris Watts would have been able to get an apartment because nowadays they do credit checks. And I mean, he had shit credit. His wife had shit credit. I mean, they had no money. I mean, what was he going to put as a down payment? Could he afford an apartment on his own? Absolutely. He could afford an apartment, but on his own if his check wasn't being tossed out the window for MLMs. But I don't know where he would have gotten the money because they had no money. I think that if I remember correctly, that they had like $9 in their savings account, and they had maybe like $1,000 or something, or a few $100s in the checking. Oh boy. Hold on one second. My dog is about to start barking. One moment, please. Say what about Casey Anthony? What? Oh no. She wants to talk on Peacock? Is she gonna do like a documentary or something? Oh, you know what? She needs to crawl under a rock and just stay there, because if I were her, I wouldn't even show my face. Like NK, she knew what she was doing when she decided to get a whole new identity, because just having to deal with all that stuff that comes with that case, I could get plastic surgery and get a whole new face, much less a name. One moment. Okay. Oh, their credit was definitely destroyed, without a doubt. Absolutely. Everybody could have gotten together, and that wedding could have been better than it was. Did you guys even see, like, in that documentary? I was like trying to look and see if there was a lot of people there. I didn't really see many people there. Yes, I am. I'm making a pernil. I'm making a pernil for Thanksgiving. And I'm going to my sister's house. My sister has had her last chemo treatment just about a month ago. So this is going to be her first Thanksgiving, um, after chemo. So I wanted to be able to help her. And yeah, I'm going to be making pernil. I'm going to make some arroz con gandules, potato salad. I'm going to make coquito. Yeah, so it's going to be a good time. She sure did. He had like what, $25,000 in his bank account, and that went towards her ring. And she quit her job shortly thereafter. I think weeks afterwards, after meeting him. I mean, then all of a sudden she had these air quotes health challenges. I have to laugh because it's quite comical at this point. You know what? I don't know if there was a no fraternization clause. But I don't know how that would work, because NK was like not technically working for Anadarko. She was under contract with, I want to say it was Tasman. And if my memory serves me correct, Tasman was owned by, leave him alone. So I think that, that's probably why nobody said anything. I think that she was allowed to get away with her own crap. Yes, I'm very behind on my chat. You know what? My chat is like being really slow. Tell me what you want to say. Green-eyed bandit. I don't. Oh, here go. It's not showing up on my screen. That's the last chat on my screen. But they have to sign a clause that are not going to fraternize, meaning you have sex with the coworkers, different paychecks, same building, same oil company. And you could be right. I know that I saw somebody get fired from one of the law firms that I was working for, because a secretary got involved with a mail clerk, and they both got fired. I mean, it's not conducive to a work environment. People just, like, you saw that they started using their work email to communicate with one another. I mean, and that's not professional. Tell me, what do you think? Tell me what you think. I mean, whether I like it or not, or even if I agree with you or I don't agree with you, I'll respect your opinion. So tell me what you think. I mean, I'm not going to call you names like some creators do and boot you out of here. I mean, that's not what I'm here for. Maybe if I go in to, let's see, maybe it'll show up faster here. Tell me what you think. I am up for any opinion. Kitty, what is your problem, Kitty? I'm not rubbing your belly because that is a setup. Kitty's over here on the steps trying to get me to rub his belly when we all know that is a setup, because as soon as I rub that belly, he's going to scratch me. Right, puppy? Go get daddy. Go get daddy. Go see daddy. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, Kitty won't let puppy walk up the stairs. That's not nice, Kitty. Did you just call me objection overruled? You know what? It could have been a setup. I have tossed that idea around quite a bit because the players seem to be a little too close for comfort. So I have thought about that, especially the fact that she was working, NK was working there as a contractor under Tasman. Tasman was owned by Leave Jim Alone. And like all of this stuff has been like scrubbed from the internet, which makes it even more sus. But yeah, that has crossed my mind that was all a setup. You don't have to apologize. I would think, it is suspicious to me. It is suspicious. I've been going in every direction on this case because we weren't there, so we don't know. We only go by what the media gave us. We can only go by SW's Facebook videos and the discovery. Oh. So I'm going to tell you guys a story. I just want to like bang my head on a wall because I had this Mac and I had the original Discovery. And something happened with my computer and the display was messed up. And so I asked my husband if he could fix it for me. And Apple is very particular with people making their own repairs. So they make it really difficult. Like they basically want you to go to Apple to get their stuff repaired. And so when he opened up, now the iMac, it's like everything is all in the screen. You don't have a tower or anything like that. You just have your keyboard, and I had a trackpad and the screen. So my husband opened it up and he tried to separate the screen, and there's like this little display ribbon in the back of it. And when he was using the box cutter to pry the screen open, he cut the ribbon. And now, in order for me to get that computer repaired, it would cost me probably the same amount that it cost me to get a brand new iMac. But damn it, I had the original Discovery, the unredacted Discovery on that computer. And I just want to like cry every time I think about it. And this Discovery now is like so full of shit. Oh, of course. Of course. Being in the legal profession, I have seen that done a lot. I have seen people stage car accidents. Before, when I got involved in the legal profession, if you got into a car accident, you had like unlimited chiropractic visitations and stuff, and you were guaranteed, even if you had a scratch, to get some kind of recovery. But then, people started taking advantage, and then they started cutting down the chiropractic treatments to, I want to say, maybe like 22 visits. And now even the chiropractors reports don't really hold any weight now. Now you got to go see an orthopedist and stuff. And but yeah, I've seen people do that. I've seen people torch their cars for insurance. I mean, I've seen it all. and and I know where you're getting to about, like I think that this was set up for insurance purposes, and I've tossed that idea around too. I mean, nothing right now would surprise me. And there's been a lot of money made on this case, a lot of money. Right. And coincidentally, that Survey 319 no longer exists. So I've thought about that. I have definitely thought about that. Those 2 wells were non-commissioned wells. They weren't even being used. There was a really big explosion, like a year before. I totally agree. I wouldn't discount that theory. So what do you guys think about this Brooks guy? You think he's going to appeal? What the media gave us and what Discovery gave us is only a peephole looking onto a giant piece of notebook paper. Ask yourself why. Why so quickly on Netflix? Why so quickly? Yes. You know what? Let me post it. Let me pin that comment. Ask yourself why. Not only why was it pushed so fast, but how did a certain someone say, I feel like they're going to be covered in oil, when they were just missing at that point? Why did Dr. Phil's episodes get taken down? And do you guys even believe that these kids actually fit through that little hole up top there and in that thief hatch? Because Dr. Phil says that they had to have broken bones to do it, and then they took it down. I don't doubt that. I think that the cameras, because like I have like the Blink security system from Amazon, and anybody that you give access to it can see what's going on in the house. I have this so I can look at my animals when I'm away. And if you allow someone access, they can see what's going on. And I think that they knew what was going on. But how did the person say, I feel that that oil was going to be poured on them? I don't know. That just sounds so strange. And what's up with, well, I guess NA would call the cops early if the mom saw the video cameras and was able to listen. But if they got into a really big fight and she saw it, I don't even know what to believe at this point. Do you guys think that she actually made it home and they started fighting and it was seen on the video camera in North Carolina? I think there had to be something that was seen on the camera, especially that the mom said, don't tell him about the video cameras. Oh, Vivint, yeah. Right, right. I think Green Eyed Bandit, I think that you're absolutely right. I think that she had access to those cameras. But see, here's the thing that is so weird is that if Mama R had access to those cameras, then why would SW say that she was blindsided and she didn't know that Chris was cheating on her? Wouldn't they know that Chris was bringing NK over to the house on more than one occasion? Calling it a daycare. This woman never even flew out to identify deceased family members, which in the world can identify dead body over the phone. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. I mean, does that even happen? Because from what I understand, like her face was not recognizable. And so she says, is she beautiful? Does she have long hair? In what world does that happen? And you're like, oh, yeah, okay, well, that solves that case. That's her. It's such, it just makes no sense. Coco, come here. My dog is trying to get into the cat's food. He wants to eat cat food so bad. Right, I agree. I agree with you 1,000,000%. Um, and I think that's how people start getting hacked and people start getting intimidated because they don't want you to talk about this case because they have made a lot of money. A lot of money. The GoFundMe's, insurance. I mean, the insurance, the beneficiaries were to the mom. Like, if something were to happen to me, my husband is my beneficiary and my children. And that just seems a little strange. Of course they did, but they're not going to see that in any kind of this documentary. You're absolutely not. I think it's a little. I think it's a lot disconcerting. I mean, to have your hand out over and over. And at the end of the day, there were 3 lives lost. And to have your hand out for money constantly, it just baffles me. And they got a lot of money from Colorado. So for them to say that the GoFundMe was for a funeral, that's just not true, because the Violent Crimes Compensation Board, I think that's what it's, I know that's what it's called in my state, but, or it's a victim of violent crimes. There's a fund, a state fund, usually they have it in every state, where those funds will pay for the funeral costs for victims of violent crimes, and sometimes therapy. But I don't ever recall the Watts family ever getting money for time off of work, for therapy, for anything. I mean, it's like there was only one set of victims, and I totally don't agree with that, because everybody that was involved are victims. Officer Bumhole. Oh my goodness. Let me read this comment for those who are just listening. I think it's a story. There was no way you could get those little girls into that paper plate size hatch. Even Chris Watts didn't even know where they were at. Officer Bumhole, or whatever his name is, I agree 100%. I don't think that you can get those children in that little hole without breaking their bones. I just don't think it's possible. And I actually saw some videos where the cops were up there flashing a flashlight and stuff down there. I don't even think that you can open those thief hatches up without exposing yourself to noxious fumes. I mean, it's crude oil. Um, so I don't even think that it was that simple. I'm wondering that same thing, Holly. I'm wondering the same thing, because after all, I mean, I don't know if I would want to see those pictures, but we don't have any proof that those children were ever even in there. I mean, it makes for a good story, right? I've always wondered if that was just made up, if they were never there. So I am pushing, I'm going on 2 hours here. You guys are amazing, but I'm going to have to cut this short because my husband just came home and he's been gone for a few days. So I have to go love on my husband, because I don't do that staying on my phone and ignoring my husband thingy. Like someone we've witnessed doing that. Um, well, go ahead. What question do you want to? What do you want to ask Green Eyed Bandit? I'll stay on for a couple more minutes. I don't. You're allowed to ask whatever question you want, honey. Don't feel like you can't, like you have to be very careful with what you ask or what you say, because that's not the way this channel is going to be operated. Um, some people do make you feel like you have to watch every word you say. Um, as long as it's not any kind of hatred or excessive use of profanity or nothing like sexual that will violate terms of service, by all means, ask whatever question you want to ask. Well, does anybody have any last things that they want to say before I log off? Oh, here she goes. Here she goes. Officer, whatever his name is, Baumhover or whatever, said to Chris Watts in an interrogation room, well, we're going to do everything we can to get them out of there. And then he slaps his hand right across his. Uh, I think can you elaborate a little more on that? Because I think that whole interrogation was very flaky. I think they were asking him questions and answering them before he would even get a chance to answer the question himself. I do have something I want to say before you close up tonight. I want to ask for people and yourself that are on live question if I'm allowed to do that. Specifically, you want to ask specific people, or it's just a general question? Ask. Go ahead. The minute he said it, he knew he shouldn't have said anything, officer. I don't know. Anybody want to help me out here with this? Now you're making me want to go back and listen to the interrogation videos again. But was it Baumhover or was it Graham Coder? If you go back and look at the other crime scenes where they're retrieving deceased bodies, an example would be Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie. I can go on with the list of people. We have to discuss Gabby Petito too, because that one is and Kylie Rodney. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of these cases have a little corruption, and like all of them, if you ask me, in my opinion. And investigators and crime scene investigators show up. They're all wearing absolutely they're wearing protective gear, gloves, and there's a kind of tent-like tarp over the actual scene, and they're recovered. Absolutely. And in the Watts case, you see people touching everything with their bare hands. Did you see when they went to go and retrieve evidence? They intermingled the evidence. I have never in my life seen that ever. You individually bag things and you tag them. You don't just throw everything in like contractor bags. That's not how you do stuff. So, and even with the car, like that Lexus, hands were all over the Lexus. And I mean, It doesn't make any sense at all. How come we never saw that when it was in regards to SW or the two little girls? Where's the tarp? Where are the people in the white hazmat suits and gloves collecting evidence? This is it really is very alarming. I would assume that that they were walking around because it was a wellness check. But in my experience with things like that, if you think that, like, and I was saying that SW had diabetes, which we all know is full of shit. She had diabetes and she could be possibly laid out, passed out or whatever, and unresponsive. So if that were the case, and even though it was a wellness check, I would think that the police officer, I think it was like Officer Coonrod, would have told everybody to stay there as he secured the scene, checked out the house. Like, I had my alarm go off in my house one time, and they didn't allow me. I'm walking home. I'm just about to walk up to my front porch, and I see all these cop cars. And I see all these cops standing on my porch. And immediately I'm like, what happened? That's my house. And they're like, stay back, ma'am. And they didn't allow me to go back inside because they wanted to make sure that it was safe for me to go inside. But that's not what happened here, because you see the little baby running around all over the place. And I don't know. Could it be that they're just such a small police department in Frederick that they just didn't know what they were doing? I don't know. Because I think that that entire situation could have been handled a whole lot differently. There were never any photographs of people at an actual retrieval of bodies. Absolutely. So that's why we don't even know if these bodies were ever, in fact, in those oil batteries, because they just said it. And so we're supposed to just believe it, I guess. Yeah, I couldn't even answer that question for you, because I would think that that would happen. I would think that you would try to secure everything first so as to not mess with possible evidence. I mean, you saw Detective Baumhover. He's like touching the stairs, like it's wet, and he puts his bare hand on the step. I mean, what if there had been blood on the steps or something, or some DNA there? It just doesn't make sense at all. But listen, guys, I'm going to sign off. It was wonderful chatting with you. Thank you for making my first solo live a wonderful one. You've given me a lot to think of, some other cases to look up, so we can have other discussions besides WATTS, because I know it gets kind of, you know, played out after a while. This was an extremely publicized case in Colorado in August of 2018, but there's no photographs from the no. Nothing. There was nothing. They gave you what they wanted to give you and expected you to just deal with it. And like somebody said in the comments earlier, I don't remember which one of you said it. I think it was you, Green-Eyed Bandit, or maybe it was Holly, that we were told that people like us would never know, that they know the truth and we will never know. And that right there says it all. When you say something like that, to me, that sounds like there's a lot that's being covered up. And to protect SW and keep her in a good light I think that's why we will probably never know half of the stuff that went on. Right? Yeah. It's same thing with the field. Yeah, you don't see anything. You would think that it would have been handled a lot better. I think that they mentioned that there were people there with hazmat suits for the purposes of draining the oil tanks and for the removal of bodies, but we don't see any bodies. We have no evidence that there were any bodies there. And then you just see the body, the hole in the ground where SW was supposed to be. And then we have all these autopsy reports saying that the position of her body, like she was practically in a downward dog position. And how does one get someone in that position? And where's the pictures? You don't see any pictures of anything. And so it just leads me to believe that they're hiding stuff. They don't want us to know. They don't want us to uncover the truth, because the narrative is that SW was a highly successful businesswoman. She loved her family with everything in her, and she busted her ass morning, noon, and night. She was the best mother in the universe. And to uncover any other things, I think would take away that image. Guys, I'm going to log off here now. Thank you so much. I want to do this again soon. So if you will join me again for another live, I would love to do it again and hopefully cover some of these other topics that you guys brought up. But I really have to get off of here. My husband's been gone for a week, so I got to go and love on my husband. And have a great morning and evening wherever you guys are in the world. God bless. Have a good night, guys.